Stop scrolling because what you are about to read is the moment the entire internet started arguing at once, and it involves a private family reaction that was never supposed to surface in public, and by the end of this story you will understand why fans of Dylan Wang and Shen Yue are completely divided, and why this single reaction has reignited a controversy everyone thought was already over. It all began quietly, almost too quietly for something that would later explode across social platforms. For weeks, the controversy surrounding Shen Yue had been circulating in fragments, unclear statements, misinterpreted clips, and fan theories growing more extreme with each passing day. But what nobody expected was that the conversation would shift away from the actors themselves and land directly on Dylan Wang's family. And that is when everything changed. According to multiple circulating accounts from entertainment circles, Dylan Wang's family had remained silent throughout the entire situation. No public comments, no interviews, no indirect statements. Just silence. But silence rarely means nothing in the world of celebrity culture. In fact, silence often creates more curiosity than confirmation. Then came the moment that broke that silence. A private gathering, reportedly involving close relatives and individuals connected to Dylan Wang's professional circle, led to a conversation that was never meant to leave the room. But somehow, details began to surface online, and what they revealed sent shockwaves through fan communities. The first leaked reaction was not dramatic. It was calm, measured, and unexpectedly neutral at first. Sources claimed that Dylan Wang's family initially refused to engage with the controversy at all, emphasizing that public narratives often distort reality. That alone surprised many fans who expected a strong defensive reaction. But as the discussion continued internally, the tone reportedly shifted. There was concern, not anger. Concern about how fast narratives were spreading, how quickly assumptions were being treated as facts, and how deeply the controversy was affecting both public perception and professional momentum. The family's focus, according to insiders, was not on taking sides, but on protecting stability. However, what truly shocked everyone was what came next. At one point during the discussion, a statement was allegedly made that reframed the entire situation. Instead of focusing on blame, the emphasis shifted toward misunderstanding and external pressure. The idea presented was that controversies in the entertainment industry often grow far beyond their original context, creating versions of events that no longer reflect reality. This perspective immediately changed the tone of the entire conversation, because it suggested that what fans had been debating online for weeks might not even represent the full truth. And this is where Shen Yue's name re-entered the discussion in a completely different light. Rather than being framed through the lens of controversy, the conversation reportedly shifted toward her professional reputation, her work ethic, and the pressures that come with sudden public scrutiny. Some family members allegedly expressed concern that young actors are often placed under extreme emotional and reputational pressure without sufficient protection. This moment became the turning point, not because it defended or condemned anyone, but because it reframed the entire situation as something larger than a simple celebrity controversy. When this information began circulating online, reactions were immediate and intense. Some fans interpreted it as indirect support for Shen Yue, while others believed it was a neutral attempt to calm rising tensions. A smaller group insisted that the statement had been misinterpreted entirely and should never have left private space. But the internet had already taken control of the narrative. Edit threads, reaction videos, and commentary breakdowns flooded social platforms. Every word allegedly spoken by Dylan Wang's family was dissected, analyzed, and debated. People were no longer just discussing the controversy itself, they were now debating the meaning behind a private family perspective. And then something even more unexpected happened. A second wave of information surfaced, suggesting that Dylan Wang himself was aware of the situation but chose not to publicly engage. This detail added another layer of complexity, because it suggested a deliberate decision to remain silent despite growing public pressure. That silence, once again, became its own form of communication. Fans began splitting into different interpretations. Some believed silence meant professionalism and emotional restraint. Others saw it as avoidance. And a growing group started focusing not on the controversy itself, but on how quickly public perception can spiral beyond control in modern entertainment culture. Meanwhile, Shen Yue continued her professional activities without addressing the situation directly, which only intensified curiosity. Every appearance, every project update, every small interaction was now viewed through the lens of the ongoing debate. And Dylan Wang's family reaction remained at the center of it all. What made this situation so powerful was not a dramatic confrontation or a shocking confession. It was the opposite. It was the absence of confrontation paired with a carefully measured response that left too much room for interpretation. In entertainment culture, silence is rarely empty. It is usually loud in its own way. As the days passed, analysts and fans alike began revisiting the entire timeline of the controversy. Old clips were re-examined, statements were reinterpreted, and narratives were adjusted. What once felt like a simple storyline now felt layered, fragmented, and uncertain. But one thing became clear. The reaction from Dylan Wang's family did not close the controversy. It expanded it. Because instead of ending speculation, it opened new questions about perspective, responsibility, and how much influence private opinions should have on public narratives. And that is where this story currently stands. Not resolved, not confirmed, just evolving. And if there is one final takeaway from everything that has unfolded, it is this. In the world of modern celebrity culture, sometimes the most powerful statement is not what is said out loud, but what is left unsaid, and the silence surrounding this controversy may end up speaking louder than any official explanation ever could. As the controversy continued to spread across the internet, the reaction attributed to Dylan Wang's family did not fade away. Instead, it grew louder in interpretation, reshaped by every fan discussion, every analysis video, and every rewritten timeline of events surrounding Shen Yue. But what was still missing from all the noise was clarity. And that silence, once again, became the most powerful part of the entire story. A few days after the alleged private reaction surfaced, new information began circulating from entertainment insiders. According to these claims, there had been no official public statement from Dylan Wang's family at all. What spread online was a fragmented interpretation of a private conversation that had been taken out of context and amplified through fan translation chains and speculation threads. This revelation immediately shifted the entire tone of the controversy, because suddenly, the story was no longer about what was said. It was about how quickly private moments could turn into public narratives. Inside fan communities, discussions became more divided than ever. Some people felt misled by the viral interpretation, while others insisted that even indirect opinions from close circles still carried meaning. A third group began questioning how much of the entire controversy was built on assumptions rather than confirmed facts. And in the middle of all this, both Dylan Wang and Shen Yue remained completely silent publicly. That silence created tension, not because it was new, but because it now felt intentional. Behind the scenes, production schedules reportedly continued as normal, with both actors focusing on their respective projects. But according to industry observers, the level of media attention had noticeably increased, forcing teams to carefully manage every public appearance, interview, and promotional activity. Then something unexpected happened. A low-quality clip surfaced from a private industry event weeks earlier, showing Dylan Wang briefly interacting with a producer while the controversy was still beginning to form online. In the clip, he appeared calm, composed, and completely disengaged from the online narrative surrounding his name. This moment added another layer to the situation, because it suggested that the external chaos had very little impact on his professional environment, even though the internet was treating it as a major turning point. At the same time, Shen Yue's schedule updates continued to be posted without interruption, further reinforcing the idea that neither side was publicly engaging with the controversy. And slowly, something started to change in the audience reaction. The intensity of speculation began to shift into reflection. People started asking a different question. Not what happened between them, but why the internet had filled in so many gaps without confirmation. As this shift occurred, commentary videos began focusing less on drama and more on media interpretation, misinformation cycles, and how celebrity narratives evolve in real time. The original controversy was still being discussed, but the tone had changed significantly. It was no longer purely emotional. It was analytical. Then came the final development that brought closure to the situation in the most unexpected way. An entertainment source close to the production environment clarified that there had been no official statement, no confirmed reaction from Dylan Wang's family, and no internal conflict related to Shen Yue beyond normal industry-level discussion around public attention management. This single clarification quietly dissolved the foundation of the viral interpretation, not with a dramatic denial, but with a simple correction of context. And just like that, the story that had dominated online discussion began to lose its intensity. Fans who had followed every update started revisiting earlier posts with a more critical eye. Many realized how quickly fragmented information had evolved into a fully formed narrative without verified confirmation. Others reflected on how easily silence can be interpreted as meaning, even when it is simply absence of communication. In the end, there was no confrontation, no official apology, no public clash, only misunderstanding, amplified through repetition. And that realization became the real ending of the entire controversy. Because what started as a supposed reaction from Dylan Wang's family ended as a lesson in how modern entertainment narratives are shaped not only by facts, but by interpretation, timing, and online momentum. As for Shen Yue and Dylan Wang, both continued their careers separately, moving forward with new projects and maintaining their public silence on the matter. And eventually, the controversy that once felt massive faded into the background of internet memory, replaced by newer discussions, newer trends, and newer stories. But for those who followed it closely, one thing remained clear. Sometimes the loudest viral stories are not built on what is confirmed. They are built on what is assumed.
End.